Today, we're diving into Malevolence, the first entry in Stevan Mena's indie horror trilogy. Often overshadowed by big-budget horror, this micro-budget slasher is a sleeper gem. Watching Malevolence, you get a feel of 70s and 80s horror. Let's see how it holds up against modern scrutiny. The story unfolds in two timelines. In the prologue, we learn that a young boy named Martin is kidnapped and subjected to unimaginable horrors, molded into something monstrous. Cut to 10 years later, a botched bank robbery leads a group of criminals to a rural safe house. But instead of finding safety, they find Martin, now a silent, masked killer, stalking the countryside. The plot merges crime thriller tropes with classic slasher structure. It's minimalist but effective, avoiding unnecessary complexity and instead homing in on dread and isolation. Our protagonists are a ragtag mix of fugitives and hostages, flawed, desperate, and thrown into survival mode. The central character, Julian, played by Brandon Johnson, is given the most depth. His arc isn't revolutionary, but his morally gray position allows for tension and unpredictability. Samantha Dark, playing the young mother, provides the emotional anchor, and her performance is grounded, helping elevate what could have been stock characters. Martin is a fascinating antagonist because he's not over-explained. We get just enough of his origin to understand the tragedy behind the horror, but not so much that he loses mystique. His mask, featureless and pale, evokes Michael Myers more than Jason Voorhees, but Martin's silent, voyeuristic presence adds a uniquely disturbing element. He's the embodiment of trauma, transformed into cold violence. What makes him terrifying isn't just what he does, it's how emotionless and methodical he is. He doesn't revel in chaos, he is the chaos. The film leans heavily on atmosphere over gore. While there are brutal kills, they're not the centerpiece. Tension is built through long silences, off-camera dread, and slow, creeping camera work. The abandoned farmhouse and surrounding fields feel isolated and forgotten. The perfect hunting grounds for a killer. The film excels at using anticipation. You feel like something bad is about to happen long before it does, and when it finally does, it's fast, raw, and uncomfortable. Jump scares are minimal. This is psychological tension with a slasher payoff. Given the budget constraints and short runtime, roughly around 85 minutes, character development is sparse but functional. The film focuses more on atmosphere than emotional arcs, but we still get glimpses of backstory and conflict that ground the characters. There's no deep introspection, but that fits the survival-focused narrative. It's more about reaction than reflection. Martin, though largely silent, is developed symbolically through flashbacks and environmental cues. Mena's script is lean and functional. Dialogue is minimalistic and sometimes awkward, which could be a flaw or a feature, depending on your lens. It echoes the blunt realism of 70s horror, where characters talk like real people under stress, not like polished actors delivering monologues. There are moments where the script stumbles. Some of the banter between criminals feels forced or flat, but when it comes to building dread or expressing fear, it succeeds. Here's where Malevolence punches above its weight. Mena, who also handled cinematography, drenches the film in a muted color palette, giving the film a desaturated, lifeless look that mirrors the emotional tone. Shadows are used masterfully, particularly in the farmhouse scenes. Wide shots of the landscape emphasize how alone the characters truly are. The camera lingers, slowly tracking across empty hallways or fields. It builds a voyeuristic feel. It's more somber than playful, more gritty than glossy. The pacing is deliberate, which may not work for everyone. But for those who appreciate slow-burn horror that culminates in visceral violence, it's gratifying. Let's be honest, the film isn't perfect. Acting can be uneven, and the low budget sometimes shows. Some viewers might find the middle act a bit sluggish, and there's little innovation in the character archetypes. But these are forgivable, especially when you consider this was an independent feature made for around $200,000. What it lacks in polish, it makes up for in craft, tension, and reverence for horror tradition. Malevolence is a chilling throwback that understands the fundamentals of horror. atmosphere, suspense, and brutality. It's not about reinvention, it's about refinement. With haunting visuals, a chilling antagonist, and a slow-building sense of dread, it proves that horror doesn't need a massive budget to be effective, just vision and restraint. If you enjoyed this review, like and share the video and let us know what you thought of the film if you watched it.